Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Coriolis, the Third Horizon rules by Free League Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, graphic scenes, and violence are likely on the menu. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your storyteller. And now, on to the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your storyteller Mike, and we are back with Coriolis. And we are playing the follow-up episode of the Prophetess of Marakanda. And so I want to thank you for listening and supporting the show. We greatly appreciate all that you help us do in that regard. And tell your friends about us, because we like friends. And we know you have friends. So I'm going to start with introductions. To my right.
This is Alex playing Mahasin Toma, who could probably use a nap, but onward and upward. Or downward.
I mean, you've just come out of what we like to call the prayer booth. And you've asked him for some very specific things. And so hopefully all of those things come true. To Alex's right.
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Galib. And they have prayed for some valiant success in their mission.
Valiant. I like that. And at the end of the table.
Hi, this is Miranda, and I'm playing Gulbahar. And I can only hope that by the end of this, I'm like a step or two closer to being back to Celestial City.
Yeah, certainly. Or it's time for you to stop slumming it down here, right? You know, if you have things to do, you have a career to continue, right? To Gulby's right.
Hi, I'm Rena. I play Judicator Zai, and Gulby just needs to lighten up a little bit. All this stress and important stuff is going to get them down one of these days.
It's an interesting perspective. And last but most certainly not least.
This is Morgan. I play Camille, and I'm not really all that good at praying to the icon, but hopefully they, give me all the luck I need in this journey that we're on.
Yes, I'm certain the gambler appreciates your sort of half in, half out sort of respect and admiration. I'm sure that the gambler is very apt to give you all the luck you need. So we're going to pick up right where we left off, just a few minutes, a few moments after they're all done praying to their icons and they're ready to set back out. So I will turn to our adjudicator and ask them, where will your team of agents be headed next?
I think we need to go to the Silver Dromedary first. So we also need to make a plan if we're going to approach the gang. So we shouldn't do that half-cocked, so to speak. So we're going to go check out our leads at the Dromedary.
Understood. So you turn towards the Silver Dromedary. So the Molkahad is a multi-story labyrinth of temptations and diversions. There are sumptuous restaurants that rise above the dance halls and courtesan houses. Bars are lined up in dodgy alleys, often with hardly more space than for a handful of people to enjoy them. They sort of lure revelers in with unique offers or fancy decorations. The music here and advertisements are likely about 25% louder than the plaza you were just at, and they blare from hidden speakers everywhere. Bright colors, holographic displays, all sort of drowned every sense that you get. And in the next moment, you find a freestanding casino that is advertising all known games in the Third Horizon. So the entertainment area of Coriolis, that district here that you're stepping into, it literally never sleeps. Most things here are 24 to 26 hours a day, and sort of amid this sort of delirium lies the restaurant, the Silver Dromedon. Anyone expecting sort of a restaurant that would cater to any types might be a little bit set off by the Dromedon. The interior is clean and ultra modern. Lots of chrome, lots of holograms, and they sort of praise the food or entertain the staff and the restaurant goers here with projections and virtual gimmicks during and between courses. There are a lot of flying drones that serve drinks as well. That's sort of the special call here at this bar is getting any number of flying drones in the air to serve your table with drinks. So it is an event, even walking towards the Dromedon. It is another thing to sit down in it. You get greeted as you walk towards the front door by a set of holograms that are bidding you enter. They sort of walk with you up to the front door. There's this sort of staged process to it, right? So as soon as you make the pathway that heads towards the Silver Dromedon, the lights alongside the rails here begin to light up, and a relatively attractive form walks with you up, asking what pleasures or foodstuffs that you might be interested in. Talks about specials, and then sort of disintegrates as you get towards the front door with a pleasant message of enjoy your time.
Let's all try to keep our wits about us here. There's a lot that could distract us.
I keep my wits about the bureaucrat.
Oh. Okay. Your wits.
Well, what do you guys think? Should we approach the bartender first? They seem to know a lot. Or is there a security person around this place?
There isn't so much a security person, but one of the things you first sort of glance over and look at is not all of the Silver Dromedon's guests are, we'll say, period set. So this is a really nice establishment. But more than a few of them are dressed like they belong maybe a few levels down. Perhaps maybe they need a bath this century, something like that. You see a few, we'll say, unfriendly faces that watch you as you walk in.
Well, considering the timeline that we've managed to put together regarding the visitor to that room, there's a pretty good chance that whoever was scouting that area was here within the past 8 to 10 hours. It's possible they came from here to their spot where they may have washed the house. I would also say the clientele also leans non-Zenithian.
Yeah, that's mostly true.
I mean, it's a shot in the dark, but it's a shot.
Do I see anybody watching us?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 different people. There's a group of 5 people that walk through the front door, and they all don't look like they belong here, except maybe the bureaucrat.
We may want to find somewhere where we're less conspicuous in this room.
Get a table.
Well, you guys, I feel pretty inconspicuous here.
Well, not all of us are you.
Then why don't you get us a table, inconspicuous Colby?
I will flag down someone to get a table.
A shirtless gentleman walks over to you and bows deeply, almost in this sort of method of showing off all of his flexibility. There's just a little too much bow there in the waist. And he rises back up to his full stature and says, "How may I assist you? Table or bar?"
Table, I suppose.
Hmm.
Maybe a table for my friends. One in the back. This is overwhelming for them. I would like to sit at the bar.
Wonderful. He sort of taps his wrist, a device at his wrist, and you see a couple of drones with slowly blinking lights sort of make their way through the restaurant. He says, just follow them. They'll show you where to go. And then he turns to you, Gulbahar, and says, right this way to the bar. So the group that gets led to the table, it's sort of in a bit of an alcove, a bit quieter, a bit surrounded by, you sort of find the low spot in the club for where the restaurant speakers maybe aren't as pounding, which is fairly helpful, especially if you want to talk. Some of these other, we'll say, members of the restaurant diorama here are fairly colorful. Lots of really bright neon clothes. You see some pretty well-fashioned armor. Those of you who are familiar with the more militia-style groups that exist here on Coriolis. Not all of this fashion show in pinks and yellows and greens is for the pleasure of it. It's definitely some fitted armor as well.
So on our way over to the table, I'd actually like to take a little bit of a closer look around, kind of hang out at the back of the pack, as it were. Move a little slower.
Okay. And intendance to make an observation roll?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What are you intending to observe?
Just if there's anyone, like, trying to watch us a little too closely, or if there are cameras that are following us.
Yeah, go ahead, give me a roll.
2 successes.
So there are a couple of drones here that you pick up on in sort of your own... They're in your rhythm, right? You pick up on the fact that they aren't serving any drinks. They're sort of hovering in regions. And that's where you begin to see like the second level of drones. So there's this back and forth of plates and drinks and stuff like that being delivered via drones, and people are using them to flag down some of the carbon-based staff members. But there's a second level in the air here above. And these drones don't zip around. They're fixed, or at least they seem to be. And they're watching every quadrant of the restaurant.
I will definitely be keeping an eye on that second level just to see over time if they're a little too focused on the group.
Okay, I'll keep you posted. So, Golbahar, you get to the bar, and the bartender steps over. An older gentleman, small, little stocky. He wears a fair amount of colorful robes, and he has a half mask on, which seems to be made of some sort of porcelain. He's a very stylish individual.
I would sit and order a drink. And then, is there anyone in very close proximity to me?
No, you're probably 3 meters or so from anybody else at the bar.
In that case, then I would ask the bartender if he could perhaps help me find my friend. I was supposed to be meeting them here, but I think our times might have gotten mixed up, and so they may have been here earlier, and I will slide some currency like a tip with my payment, but it's a hefty amount of currency.
I see. So you shake a little more burr their way, and the gentleman behind the bar seems to notice. He's old hat at this, given his middle to late aging, and he says, "What kind of person were you looking for again? What if I've seen them?"
Is it common for people to still use matchbooks here? This is out of character.
It seems to be, yes.
Okay. Well, a friend that was possibly planning on... They were having to go to work till later, a job.
All right. I mean, people come in and out of here all the time. Maybe I've seen them. What do they look like?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't exactly know.
I thought you said they were a friend.
More of an acquaintance.
We get people in and out of here all the time. So, what specifically were you waiting for? Meeting them here?
Well, they were probably here maybe roughly 8 hours ago. Did anyone stand out to you? Perhaps someone that maybe didn't seem like they belonged here, or...
He seems to look a little curious for a moment and sets his hands sort of on the bar and puts the drink he's made up for you. Well, I suppose a place like the Dromedon gets a fair style of clientele, right? Many different people come in here, but I think maybe that I've seen someone like that. Maybe someone that sticks out a little bit.
Yes, perhaps someone that looks like they may be interested in having acquired some art or an artifact, regardless of whether or not it's theirs.
Interesting. That's a very specific type of person.
It is, yes. But also very vague.
Galib, how many successes did you have on your observation?
2 total.
So I am going to roll agility infiltration versus that. So as Golbahar is working through their talk with the bartender, Galib, you have your eyes fixed on the drones for a little while, and you sort of get the pathing pattern, the pathing that they're doing as they move over the quadrants. And as you do, you see a person begin moving from a portion of where at the end of the bar, near some smaller tables, they begin making their way towards a side exit. And the movement is quick, and it is a flight response. As probably on the third step, they pick up speed.
I'm going to tap the adjudicator and point over to the person. They seem suspicious. Perhaps we want to follow them?
Just sort of casually look in that direction so as to not draw attention to myself.
They hit the side door.
Time to go. Shall we?
Yes, they'll be right on your heels.
Okay.
I kind of shake off my brain fog and stand up.
All right. You stand up. So is everyone except Gulbahar going out the side door after this person?
Oh, yes. I am.
Yep, me too.
Fantastic.
I'm going to let the runners run. I will follow closely, but I am going to be careful to see whether anyone's following us particularly.
All right. So I'm going to have you roll initiative for those of you who are running.
I got a 1, which makes sense because I doesn't run, they saunter. We all know this.
I also got a 1 because they tend to hang around at the back of the pack.
That's a 5.
I got a 6.
All right. So for you, Morgan, your character sees you're sort of first to the door to chase after this person. And when you get to that sort of side door of the Dromedon, you see that the person that you were after has hit full speed. They're running as full clip.
And I'm not going to be able to catch up to him, I'm assuming.
You could start running.
Oh, well, yeah, let's do that. I was going to shoot at them, but I was like...
You get 3 action points, as you're aware of, so you could spend them all and just basically move. You could pull out your gun and shoot them. On the run, it might be a little dicey there to shoot somebody while they're running at full speed.
How far ahead of me are they?
They essentially had a round of movement, which was half at half their speed as they were kind of sort of getting out of the restaurant. And they've had half their movement at full speed. And so they're down the back stairway and pushing their way into this entertainment district, which is, of course, just chock full of people and obstacles aplenty.
All right, I'm going to sprint after them then.
Okay.
And then I'm going to spend my next 2 action points firing a warning shot at them.
Okay.
So I know it's serious business.
All right. So you fire a warning shot. So at this point, I know that Mahasan was sort of holding back a little bit, but that wouldn't prevent them from hearing what kind of gun did you fire?
I have an accelerator pistol. It's a silent shot, though.
Okay, so yeah, it's silent shot. It doesn't mean it's completely silent, but it's silent enough. So you probably wouldn't hear the gun as much as you'd hear you'd probably hear the report of people nearby, like having seen gunfire. That's something that you would be able to take in. Somebody outside shooting.
Of course. This is where we are now.
Right. So are you going to hold action then for a little bit?
So on my action, I was going to actually roll up to Gulbahar at the bar and kind of put both hands on the bar and lean over in that kind of awkward, I'm looking you right in the face pose. They're in pursuit of someone. And I will kind of keep my eyes on Gulbahar as I start moving and like nodding toward the side door.
Okay.
You really can't take them anywhere, can you?
I'm jogging along.
I would like a... Zai, what is your agility?
My agility is 5.
All right, so between you and Galib, you're going to go first.
I'm running after Camille because I know what she's going to do. She always does this.
You get out the door and you see that their pistol is already in their hand.
Camille, you can't just bang. Oh, God. Icons.
It looks like they were intentionally shooting as a warning shot, but you can tell that the entertainment district now here is all eyes on the Dromedon bar.
Camille, you can't just be shooting in the middle of the street. My gods, what are you doing?
Just trying to get their attention. I shoved the pistol away inside my flight suit to like kind of keep all eyes off of me.
Okay. Are you, Zai, are you continuing to give chase?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Just sort of calling back at Camille, like, stop shooting things.
And then, Gali, where do you see yourself moving?
Well, they are definitely not going to be moving nearly as fast. But they'll put their hand on the stun gun that they have just in case it needs to be used and try to get in range if necessary.
Okay. So you're hustling after them.
Mm-hmm.
So your quarry is going to drop a small cylinder behind them. Morgan, your character notices this as you're continuing your pursuit. And when that cylinder pops, in just the slightest of sounds, a massive gout of smoke starts coming out of it.
Do I know if that's just for them to hide where they are, or is that going to is it poisonous?
You're not sure if it's poisonous or not, but the people in the crowd that are reacting to it, they're obviously of the same question that you are. They have no idea what this gas suddenly is. It does obscure your vision quite a bit.
Am I able to kick the canister somewhere like where there's no people or anything?
Not really an option here in the entertainment district. There's people basically everywhere.
Do they have garbages? Like,
Certainly.
all right, I grab the canister and I'm gonna put it in one of the garbages.
So that is your action. You did have to spend a darkness point to do such thing, but that's okay. So following up on that, then that is your action. So this would be, at that point, it would be Mahasan.
Mahasan gets to the door, looks back one last time at Gobelhar to see whether or not they're moving or whether they're still sipping their drink.
I mean, I don't want to make a scene. So, and I'm in the process of getting information. This is just really two ways of getting information. My way and your guys' way.
So seeing this, I will sigh, roll my eyes as hard as humanly possible, and start jogging toward the commotion.
I imagine that at some point in time, Gulbahar, with each person individually, has gotten into like an eye-rolling contest. Just back and forth, who can roll their eyes the hardest.
Oh, I have no doubt. Okay, they are going to spend an all-out action and continue to sprint away under the cover of smoke, at least the remaining cover of smoke. Morgan, your character watches, as you sort of press this canister into a receptacle and shove the lid back on it to prevent it from further corrupting the air of the area. You see all sorts of boxes and crates getting tipped over and people being pushed away and around. And you realize that as Zai and some of your other agents are going to try to hit this area, that you're going to have quite the obstacles to move through.
Is there anywhere that I can climb to get on a rooftop? Are there rooftops? I don't know. Is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a relative. The entertainment area is built in such a fashion where there are rooftops, but you're talking about 20 or 30 meters. Probably not something that would be viable for you to pursue them across.
Oh, is there any motorbikes around?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You just have to maybe liberate one.
I would like to liberate one.
Very good. So you find a grab bike. You're going to need to make a piloting roll. So that'd be wits piloting to acquire it.
I thought piloting was agility piloting.
Oh, yeah, but it's wits to steal it.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna just roll. I'm not gonna roll agility then.
Because it's not yours.
No,
Until it is.
Until it is. Okay.
Which will go fantastic with your adjudicator nearby.
Just trying to help. All right, I'm rolling. I got 1 success. Can I roll my dice again? My failures to get some more successes?
You can. Would you like to beseech your icon, the gambler?
I would. I will pray to the gambler and say, please, give me the luck I need to grab this motorbike so I can chase down that bad guy and hopefully gain favor with the adjudicator. Darn it. I only got the 1 success total.
Okay. You begin hot wiring this bike, essentially overriding the commands of ownership. And I'm going to make another roll and see if anyone notices you doing this in the fray. And someone has. Okay. So, Zai, it's you, and then it's the lead.
So can I still see the suspect running away?
You can, just barely. They're obscured, and they're starting to get a serious distance put between you.
Can I try and shoot him? Not to kill, but to disable. I'm licensed.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about you being licensed. We all know that you're able to carry firearms and utilize them as necessary. So you can absolutely fire. So there will be a 2 dice penalty for attempting to hit them through this sort of situation, and that would be agility and ranged combat.
So that's would be 8, but it'll be 6 for the -2.
Correct. What kind of weapon are you using?
I have what is described as a Vulcan cricket, which I'm not exactly sure what that is.
So a Vulcan cricket's a short-range weapon. You're still within short range, so it's okay. It's going to give you 1 bonus die.
Oh, all right. So that takes me up to 7. Okay. I got 2, so I'd like to pray to the faceless one and essentially offer me more sight to reveal the thing that's being hidden from me, which in this case is the guy running away.
That's reasonable. I'll take your darkness point as dedication.
Okay, so I'll reroll these 5. And that's 2 more 6s.
Okay, so range combat in Coriolis is a little different in that you only need 1 success to actually strike the target.
Oh.
When you have a range combat roll that's successful, your attack hits and you inflict your weapons damage, which with cricket is 2, on your enemy. For each additional 6 after the first one, you get to choose some bonus effects, right? So you could choose to inflict a critical injury on the target. You would need to spend as many dice in that regard as the crit number on the cricket, which is 2. You could increase the damage. You could attempt to disarm them. And then for you, given the type of weapon you're using, that's about it. It doesn't do any sort of automatic fire. You're not in a suppressive fire. Or you could simply use the rest of the 6s to increase the damage and make their threshold for getting out unscathed a lot harder.
A critical would kill them, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
And you have a Metacurge with you.
That's true.
Well, so also I think there's like one of the effects you can pick for criticals is stunned. So you can just stun them, which makes them like lose all their AP or something like that. Or is that anytime they receive a critical injury?
It's every time they receive a critical injury.
Okay. So I'll spend the 2 6s to make it a critical then, if it's not going to auto-kill them.
No, it won't auto-kill them, but
I want them down so that we can get to them.
So here's what I would like you to do, Zai. I would like you to roll a D66 for me.
How do I do that?
It's very simple, not to worry. You roll 2D6, you treat 1 as a 10s and 1 as a 1s.
Okay. 62.
Okay, so you fire, and when you fire the cricket, you try to do your best to keep it from head or any sort of super vital area, right? And so you fire very accurately, and you hit them in their knee. And when you do, I am going to say, since you were very clear about not wanting to kill them, I will not rule it as fatal, but you take them off their feet, and you watch as during their fall, they land on the front of somebody else's grav bike, and their head kind of bangs off of that piece of machinery, and they flop over.
Oh.
So they've stopped moving.
So I'm going to call out, Toma, person down, need you, ASAP.
Already. I start sprinting.
So the rest of you catch up fairly quickly, but for accuracy purposes, Camille, are you continuing to hotwire this bike?
Do I hear them yelling about how somebody's down?
Yeah, you hear they hear the message over the comm that someone's down.
Okay.
The person who was going to approach you and like ask you to stop trying to steal their bike, hears the adjudicator's weapon go off, and people start scurrying for cover.
Oh, so I can totally take the bike now?
I mean, you have it now in this round.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to ride the bike on over.
Okay. Toma, you arrive on scene, and you see a young woman whose hair is cropped about at her shoulders. She's wearing very specific, like she's wearing clothing that is very not sort of tight fitting, but it lacks any sort of slack left in the fabric. So it's not tight, but it's not flowing like most people would wear here to do trade. She's not a trader. She's something else. And her leg at the knee is in a very bad state.
Toma, I need you to do some triage here.
Who else is nearby? Is it just me and Zai right now, or is...
For the moment, yeah, but in a few clicks here, Gelib and Camille will show up.
And the patient appears unconscious?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not really sure what happened when they fell, so I'm going to leave them face down and immediately begin treating the most severe injury, but I will check for a pulse. I'll use my biomonitor to see if they're alive.
They are barely alive, and the harshest injury is the knee. That knee is blown out.
Well, she'll never run again, at least not on this leg. I will get out my trauma kit, and if I need any assistance, I will ask Zai to either hold a limb or hold a box or pass me this or that while I proceed to administer a trauma dose and stabilize the patient.
Okay. You arrive with the grav bike, Camille, and then Glebe on foot. You'd catch up as well.
I give Camille a very suspicious look when she shows up on the bike.
I notice that. I just kind of give a sheepish smile and say, I'll give it back when we're done. Maybe.
And money to repair it?
Yes. Of course. I'll just fix it for them.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing they are considered broken, right?
They are absolutely considered broken.
So I got 4 1s and 5 6s and a 3. So 5 successes.
Okay. So you have great news. One is that the knee, while not savable, is not something that they will bleed out from. So you get that situated. The head, on the other hand, is a little concerning, but with a proper salve and wrap, they should be okay. They will likely not be conscious anytime soon. But in treating them where they are, you also notice that they seem to be a little bit sort of cradling something, like they fell onto something.
So once I have them stable, I will roll them onto their back and get them into a more standard, what do you call it? Like a gurney posture.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to call someone to pick this person up? I'm assuming they're going to need to be detained. They've been sedated.
Already on it.
What were they holding?
They're holding a pack, like a sling, that is slung in front of them.
So anything that is not essential to their, I guess, modesty, I will set aside.
Okay. So I want to flash inside really quick and check in with Gulbahar and see how they're talking up this bartender.
Well, where did we leave off?
Do you come here often? No. The reaction from the bartender is pretty easy to read through for someone of your professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
Whomever that person was that just ran out the door, they know.
Oh, okay.
And so they kind of turn back to you and say, I saw someone that looked quite a bit like that. See, they just ran out the door.
Oh, okay.
And they sort of wipe the bar down and stifle a grin.
I perfectly imagine Gulbahar just like approaching after the action is done, and also congratulating / thanking Zai for the good work, because I assume that any work that was done in this situation was done by Zai.
Well, all except the medical work, which is clearly being done by Mahasan. Clearly.
Yeah, but I mean, Zai apprehended.
That does seem to be the case.
And a good leader delegates.
Is this person a smoker?
They are. Look, they have some sort of tobacco on them now.
I will definitely, I have plenty of biomaterial at this point that I can compare later, but I will inspect their fingers for telltale signs of, match striking, yellowed fingernails, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not the fingernails so much as it is the distinctive discoloration between the index and middle on their left hand. That's all the confirmation you need.
Toma, can you wake them up for a few minutes?
Oh, they'll be in a whole lot of pain right now. Is this where you want to question them?
Well,
I appreciate the forward thinking, but should we get out of the street?
take them off the street for the moment, but I'd rather not do it at a medical center either. Too many prying ears.
Very well.
And we're on a bit of a time crunch.
You could always put them on the back of the bike. The grav bike is there.
We'll do that.
Yeah, toss them on here.
Camille, you're going to be getting any blood stains out, though.
Oh, that's right.
They shouldn't be spilling any blood anywhere. Most of it's on the ground. A brilliant shot, Zai, by the way.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
I will help secure the patient to the back of the grav bike.
This is highly irregular. You get them secured to the back of the grav bike, and you find an alley to get the grav bike down that is less of less wub wub from the entertainment district, less of the musical medley, and you could potentially wake them and question them there if you wanted to, Sai.
Zai does.
You do notice also too that among their personal effects there are not only just several pouches and whatnot, but there is a sort of small, we'll say, breadbasket sized bag that they carry.
I'll have a look through the bag while Toma's figuring out how to briefly wake them up so I can talk to them.
Oh, that's easy. I have so many stems.
You find a box inside the bag.
What's in the box?
Open it up.
Yes.
You see a beautiful statue.
Oh, well, that was easy enough.
Uh-huh. See, my hypothesis, since talking to the shopkeeper, I'm saying this to Toma as he's getting the stems and everything ready, is they specifically sold this to the lady because they needed something inside her home. So, whether they needed to get in or they were recording something through this or what, but still need to talk to this person.
Well, could we examine it further to see if it is some sort of recording device or whatnot?
So I will pump a significant amount of pain medication through their system before I wake them. They should be able to answer your questions, though I don't know how long they'll be cognizant. So you may wish to be quick about it. And I will offer the plunger to Zai and say, wake them as you see fit.
Oh, I'm never quick about anything, but I'll make an exception here. And I will wake her up.
Okay. You push a plunger down and fill this person's body with enough stimulants to wake them through the painkillers and the pain. And when they come to, they're gasping for air, and you can watch their eyes in real time go from white to red, like bloodshot. They kind of cough.
I will place the oxygen mask over their face while Zai talks.
So, breaking and entering. You know what kind of time that'll get you around here?
They shake their head.
A lot. Especially running from arrest. So, talk, and maybe I can get you a lighter deal.
They inhale.
Why? Why do you have this?
I want to move the mask so they can talk.
Contracted. I was contracted to get it.
By whom?
They cough.
I re-administer. And I will put a hand on their shoulder and kind of help them breathe through it. You're doing just fine. This will be over soon. We're going to get you somewhere safe. You need to focus on what the adjudicator is asking you, though. And I will remove the mask again.
Sooner you answer the questions, sooner you can drift off into sleep and not have to think about any of this shit that you're in.
She looks up at you, Zai, and says, the gang wanted it. I don't know, some rich Zenithian was going to pay a bunch for it, and they got their hands on it or something, and then they decided they would sell it to them, and then they wanted it back. I don't know, to sell it again, to sell it to somebody else, to fool some other rich schmuck into paying for luxury.
Entirely possible. What's your name?
Callista. They cough again.
I'll put the mask on.
Where were you supposed to meet them with this?
Give them a moment, Sai. I'm going to let them continue to breathe for a while until they calm down a bit.
Osmanos Cantina.
Well, icons be praised. How fortuitous. And did they give you any other information about what this statue is? They just tell you where to find it?
Just that it's very valuable.
I believe we have what we need, Sai.
Very well. Thank you for your cooperation. I will make sure that the prosecutor's office is duly notified.
Okay, so what are you going to do with Callista now?
I'm going to, I guess, call for medical assistance.
Okay, I mean, you already called the authorities in, so by about this time, they have tracked your adjudicator signal to this alley. And several members of the Coriolis constabulary are walking in.
I am preparing the patient for transport.
And I'm going to give them a brief. This is a suspect in an ongoing case. Keep them under watch. They will be formally booked. But also make sure they get the medical care they need. They're not going to be running away anytime soon.
The officers here help them, with Mahasin clearly involved, help them onto a gurney of sorts, a sled that they can both keep the occupant steady and level and yet secure at the same time.
And I will inform the paramedics of all of the injuries and the treatments that have already been performed, and that they should probably not be allowed to wake up for some time, as a number of stimulants were found to be rushing through their system. We'd hate for them to experience a cardiac event.
They take your data, and thank you. You get an update on your sort of wrist pad, Zai, that the local office, the local security directors have notified you that you have a patient, or you have a subject in custody. You sort of get a case update automatically.
Fantastic. I do love efficiency. So I want to take a quick look at this statue once the constabulary have moved on. I want to see if it could be a couple things. Either they put that in there for recording something or learning something about her home, or they're taking it back from her to sell it to someone else, like the thief thought it might be. So I want to see, is it actually a statue? Is there something else implanted in it, like a bug or something of that sort? Trying to get an idea of what they might be wanting with this statue.
Okay. It seems to be made out of a crafted piece of ore or gemstone. Some sort of metal that's here. A hardened material. There doesn't seem to be any gaps or holes in it. It's a complete statue, and it almost seems to vibrate when you hold it. You get an intense sensation when holding it.
Interesting.
You'd have to take it to someone to know for sure if it was real or not, that would know these things.
Right. But it doesn't look like it's had anything implanted in it or being used as a listening device?
It does not appear so.
Okay. So it's entirely possible that they were playing off this rivalry between the nobility. Sell it to one, steal it, sell it to the other. Just keep it going back and forth, making as much money as they possibly can. Clever.
It's really elegant in its simplicity.
Yes, it's the kind of thing I would expect from the government, really. Well, I look at the group. We have retrieved the object. Do we want to go have a chat with the original thieves, or do we want to just return it to the lady and advise her to get better security?
I don't know that I'm necessarily concerned with who ends up in possession of that artifact, but considering the nature of the crime that we're investigating, and as much as you know that I will continue to aid in your investigations without question, we should try to be humane when it comes to the people at play here.
Are you insinuating something, Tama?
No, I'm not insinuating anything. There's a fine line between questioning and torture. I want to make sure we're on the right side of that line.
I just asked some questions. That's all. She'll be fine. And if you'll notice, I let you knock her back out when you said it was going to be too much. So, Gulby,
Yes, sir.
thoughts? Next steps?
Well, I would love to take part in another interrogation, personally. And we really don't know if this is just a robbing from one to then sell and rob from the other.
I think we have different definitions of the terms take part in and another.
Well, I don't usually brain people before questioning them, but to each their own.
So, shall we have a chat with the gang?
Yeah, I say we follow up.
I did have a few thoughts on that. As much as I appreciate the direct and legal approach, it would be safe, I think, to assume that when dealing with gang affiliates and their leaders, a more subtle touch might be necessary. I have a thought, though you may not like it, but if it works out, you might get to toss one of us in cuffs if things go sideways.
Are we doing the whole taking someone prisoner?
More so, medical education, especially on par with the quality of which I've had, comes at a price, and there's no reason that expenses couldn't have been covered by, let's say, a private sponsor, perhaps an upper crust art collector or someone in the business of trading favors who has called upon, let's say, me to pay her back for help facilitating my education. This kind of price could lead a student to desperate measures, perhaps even being willing to participate in distribution of medical-grade pharmaceuticals that gangs have a customer base for, offering to supply such things to them, and mentioning the antagonism of the lady in question might allow for a bit of wiggle room conversationally for someone a bit more savvy in matters of political chicanery, and I will look directly at the bureaucrat. And if things get heated, you can always barge in looking for me by name and arrest me on charges of intent to distribute illicit substances, which would only lend to my credibility as a desperate student. Just a thought.
What would be the end goal here, Toma? How would you get whatever information we need through this ploy?
Well, again, the mutual antagonism of the art collector in question might allow for some doorways to conversation. I'm only hoping to get an audience with Nikotra. I mean, if you think we can just go in there and talk to them, I don't know that they'll necessarily be as pliable with the law at their door, as it were.
Possible.
This also, though, I mean, these are dangerous people. It may be better to take a team approach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily disagree. I just wonder if they might respond.
Well, I have a better idea, I think. No offense, Toma. What if two of us go in with the statue in question, and we liberated it from the original thief and then found out where it was destined to go? So we decided we'd bring it in and get the reward ourselves.
And we play on the side of friendship, camaraderie to get information out of them.
And also money. It's what they tend to go for. Like, we just liberated it from another thief, and, well, we don't want to be on their bad side, and we also heard they were paying pretty well for having this statue delivered, so... And then we get right into the actual discussion of the statue itself, and so on and so forth.
I have no interest in going to see the Isa gang. If they see me, they may try to kill me. I may or may not owe them some burr because of a race that I won a little while ago. They were not happy about that. So
why am I not surprised?
I have to make money somehow.
That actually might play in our favor, Camille.
No.
Yes, because if you owe them money and you are offering to bring them the statue in lieu of your debt,
it makes sense. Yeah.
They will still maybe shoot me.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be fine.
We have a doctor.
You'll be fine.
We have I don't like this plan. This puts me in harm's way, and I mean, as much as the gambler is, on my side, I don't. This is not a plan I can get behind.
Camille,
I
it will wipe out your debt theoretically, and it also gets us right in the door rather than just being two random people off the street who managed to steal this from the original thief. Now it's you who owes them money, who's desperately looking for a way to expunge your debt, and you've found a way to do it. Maybe the thief was talking too loudly in the bar and you overheard them, so you stole it from them, and you're bringing it in yourself with one of your acquaintances.
And the rest of us, I'm sure, will be waiting in the wings to swoop in and save you and whomever else if it goes bad.
Is that like how you swooped in and helped us when you were sitting in the bar?
But you didn't need my help.
No.
I don't think Zai needed anyone's help. Zai almost killed that person completely on their own.
Even Galib is braver than you, and that's saying a lot.
I mean, Galib, you can take my spot and play and be me.
I don't have a problem going in either, and I also have the lie detector.
I mean, if I'm going in with anyone, I'm going in with Zai, who can probably defend themselves in a fight.
Mike, would either Gulby or I be recognizable as authority figures? Like, is that something I would know of?
Yeah, you're probably a little too recognizable as an authority figure.
Yeah, I'm thinking because I knew their names, like I knew them really well, it was probably unlikely to be me. So, would they know Gulby though?
No, Gulby is a bureaucrat. I mean, they're a paper pusher, right? So,
all right. So I look at Camille's. I don't think I'm the best person to be going in with you, honestly, because they know who I am. Kind of goes with being, hotshot, adjudicator, rising star, all that kind of thing. Your name gets in the press. So it might be better to take Gulby maybe, or Toma, one of the two with you. And, we can stay outside, keep an eye on things. We can maybe fit you up with bugs and so on, so we can be listening in, keep an ear out for trouble, and come rushing in if you need help.
So, this is fantastic, but I want to give you, Zai, I want to give you a wits and infiltration roll, please.
Oh, God. Here I was thinking I had a good idea. Okay. It's 1-6.
Okay. I think the limited success information here is the biggest concern is if you decide to head up to Osmano's cantina, you're not heading up to a restaurant. You're likely heading into where Nekatra kind of hangs their hat. And as a gang leader, that could be pretty troubling. So you probably know enough that you may want to reconsider some of your options. It's like you like the whole aspect of the hand of judgment coming finally for these people who've caused all this trouble, but it could get you killed.
Right. Well, the other potential. What was the name of the guy who's the rival who keeps taking things?
So her rival, Haji Constantinis, is the more political arm, you believe, as far as her rival goes. That is a road you have not walked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was also the dealer that was lying to us a bit.
That is true too. And you would also know that that Mirzi, the dealer, does have a shop that you could go visit them at, and even potentially check the statue piece you have with their knowledge, and maybe ferret out some information there, or get to the bottom of what's going on.
So let's pay a visit to the art dealer before we go running into any gang territory. Need to find out if this is a copy, if it's the real thing, and also what she's hiding. It's entirely possible this is a setup.
Then why bring the statue at all? Why not just tell her that we have it?
Oh no, not a setup for us, necessarily. Setup for the lady.
Yes, she could have been working with them, or it just sounds like she knows. It seemed like she knew more than she was letting on.
Okay, so you're going to go see Madame Mirzi Babour?
Yes.
All right. So the shop is located very close to Archaeology Alley, where it branches off from the promenade. From the outside, the shop is pretty unremarkable, as this narrow corridor leads in towards it. It opens up then into a 2-story room full of artifacts from the Altai system. Looks more like a museum rather than a sales room. This is somewhat supported by the fact that Madame Mirzi acts a little bit more like a curator rather than a salesperson. But Mirzi Babur is there, and she greets you when you enter. The shop is otherwise empty.
Good afternoon.
Adjudicator's Eye?
Yes, we have some things we'd like to discuss with you.
Certainly. How can I be of assistance?
And make sure that windows are closed or whatever. People can't just peek in.
Mm-hmm.
Have a seat.
You tell her to have a seat?
Yes.
She smiles.
Politely.
It is my shop. I'll stand.
I always find conversations more useful when one isn't standing around tiring one's knees, but as you wish. I'll pull out my case. So I would like you to identify this piece for me, and I open it.
She seems to hold her breath for a moment. You found it.
You could say that, yes. Is it the actual piece?
She sort of begins to look it over a little. It looks very much like it, yes? Sort of moves it down and looks at the bottom of the base and then tilts it again and sort of runs some of her fingers across some of the one of the 8 sort of halo markings that are on top of it.
What do you know about this piece?
I know that the statuette here is rumored to share several touchstones within Altarian culture. And I know that it's rumored to confer some sort of mystical ability, some sort of strange and wondrous thing through dreams, they say. They say those who sleep and rest at the feet of this prophetess of Marakanda can dream in the deepest of ways, where that they almost appear real.
As I'm watching her talk about this and examine the statue, is there something akin to psychology?
Yeah, so there are methods of attempting to discern whether or not she's telling you the truth.
I'm more wanting to get a feel for what her attitude is. I guess, like, is this a very special thing for her? Is she looking at it as an art object or as something she wants? If that makes sense. Like, what is her body language and her tone telling me while she's doing this?
Yeah, it's empathy manipulation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pray to the Faceless One, asking for secrets to be revealed. All right, that's 3 6s out of 4.
So she looks at you, and as you watch her walk her eyes and fingers around this statue, you realize that this piece has significant meaning to her. She's a firstborn, but she's deep into Altarian relics. Many of the pieces around here have very similar sorts of iconography in them, although nothing as splendid as this. Well, the piece for me is the truth before the Faceless One came to be amongst the icons. This is sort of a last remnant of Altinian culture, one that did not know the Faceless One, and so it is a marker of sorts. But other than that, I believe it to be the true statue you are looking for. Praise be to the icons that you have found it.
Indeed. Praise be, especially to the Faceless One, actually. The Seeker, the Unveiler, sort of watching her.
She continues to nod as you name them.
So, my friend Gulby here had an idea that you weren't keeping entirely accurate. Earlier when we spoke to you, I was wondering if maybe there was something you'd like to share with us. And I give the side eye to Gulby.
Yes, it seemed like you weren't telling us everything. So if you could kindly share the rest of the information that you have.
What other information do you speak of?
Well, I think you know more than what you've told us.
About this situation?
it would seem to me that possibly you were in on the whole ruse.
In on it?
This piece was sold specifically to the lady. You would have been contacted about it being available.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you got in over your head. You owe someone money. If that's all that it is, then that's fine. Just come out with it, because it's going to be better for you to be honest with us now than for us to find out that you're continuing to lie to us.
All right, Miranda, I would like you to make a manipulation empathy roll, or command, depending on which route you're trying to go.
Probably manipulate.
I will spend a darkness point.
Handful of dice. Is 3 6s.
Okay, so I'll ask you, are you interested in obtaining any more successes towards your cause?
Sure.
Okay, so you would have to beseech your icon for that.
Or we could use the group roll.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, you could.
What do you think, squad? We have to agree on it.
It's just, we get one as a group, or do we all get one?
One as a group.
We're going to use it on this?
I think this is a good one.
I don't.
Well, trying to get her to admit to it.
If not, I'll just pray to the icons.
Okay. Then there we go.
Okay. Messenger, hey. It's me, Golby, checking in again. This lady's clearly not telling the truth. If you could please guide their voice out of their lungs in a truthful and honest manner, that would be very appreciative. I got one more success, so 4 successes.
Fantastic. So under your rather serious gaze, you begin to see Mirzi's sort of careful construct of willpower buckle. And she turns back towards the wall of decorations, these pieces that she's collected, and she says, "It's a forgery."
Really?
She nods there.
Is the one that was sold to the lady a forgery, or is this a forgery taken of the original that was sold to her?
She turns back around. That is a forgery. It is the forgery that was sold to Lady Danae.
Who made the forgery?
I did.
Now we're getting somewhere. And why is that?
Because the real prophetess of Marakanda has been in my family for generations. As a firstborn, it is my sworn duty to protect it. The legends surrounding the powers of the statue are true, but the predictions that the dreams give come at a very high price, and therefore my family has always ensured that the prophetess is not to be used.
So why the rigmarole?
Because the Zenithians would do anything to claim such an item, and if it wasn't Lady Danae, it would have been another, and another, and another. And so it was much easier to simply prepare an accurate forgery, to place it in the hands who needed it, and allow the lady to claim some sort of win amongst her own kind on the upper levels.
And why the theft, then, if you achieved your goal?
Because the gang, who'd unfortunately come to find out that the lady had purchased it or was planning on purchasing it, the theft was their idea. They believed that if they could break in and steal the statue, that she would either attempt to buy it on the market again when it came to, and thus, through their dealer, profit again. I knew as soon as they were planning on stealing it that they'd find a way to get into the estate. They'd find a way to steal it. And so, of course, when I saw you, she points at you, Colby, when I saw you this morning, of course I was concerned that the truth would come out.
And why shouldn't it?
Because this truth is one that is very dangerous, one that could harm others.
Because if it were to come to light that the actual item were in your possession or that of your family, it could end up in other hands.
Yes, another proud Zenithian would stomp down here and talk about how they'd led Coriolis for aeons, and their family was so much more important than the mud and muck that I had come from as a firstborn. And they'd find some legal way to wring it from my hands, or someone would break into my shop and torch it to find what they needed. Because what the Zenithians want, they get. And so yes, I fabricated a lie. I gave them their toy so the dogs could run around and play with it, while our future stays safe. There is no fault here, except greed.
And forgery. That's passing off a forgery as the original item is a crime. But I see no reason why we can't just call this a job well done.
I agree.
Return the statue. It's been certified as the one that was stolen, as you've so kindly stated. We don't need to clarify whether it's an original or not, just that it's the one that was stolen. We recommend to the lady that she tighten her security and perhaps ensure that the gang doesn't do any more break-ins in that area.
The thief is already in custody.
Exactly. We know who stole it. We've arrested them. I think it's a case closed. No sticky political situations for any of us, and just some commendations. Seems like a win-win.
Well, that is very insightful of you, Adjudicator. I'm certain that Lady Danae will pay handsomely for its return.
I'm not so much interested in that. I like order. And as I see it, justice has been done. The thief has been stopped. And based on what I've learned from you, any other outcome would lead to disorder, chaos. It's my job to prevent that. That's what I do.
It's only fair to give the nobles exactly what they deserve.
This is the only way that makes sense. And we all get a pat on the back, promotion, Slight sarcastic smile.
Oh. Then icons be with you.
And also with you. I would like a statement in writing that you have certified that this is the one that was stolen, in case there's any awkward questions.
Of course, I'll draft one and send it over.
Thank you. And don't go dealing with the Issa gang in the future.
Certainly not. Okay. The group then exits the shop back out into the arcology alley, as it were, and walks back invariably to return a very important item. And I think that that's the best point to close this story. And so I hope you've enjoyed our run of the Prophetess of Marakanda and another journey through the setting of Coriolis by Free League. Who knows when will pop up on your screens next. Thank you.